All right, let's dive into the Dubai dating scene. We're about to uncover what it's really like to date in this city.
Yeah, beyond the glitz and glamour you see on Instagram.
Exactly. And we've got a ton of interesting sources for this deep dive. First-hand accounts, blog posts, forum discussions, you name it.
We really wanted to get a range of perspectives, paint a full picture.
Totally. So, where should we start? Oh, one of the first things that jumped out from our research was Dubai's demographics.
Right, that 75% male population.
Huge gender imbalance, right. It's got to have a big impact on the dating scene.
Well, definitely for the men, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. More competition, more pressure to make the first move.
And on top of that, there's that whole expectation that men pay for everything.
Oh, yeah, that came up a lot in the sources.
Yeah.
Dinners, drinks, taxis, it all adds up.
Especially in Dubai. It's not exactly known for being, like, budget friendly.
One blog post even mentioned this guy whose date casually ordered an 800 AED bottle of wine on their first date.
Oh, wow.
Talk about pressure.
Ouch. And it's not just about the money either. Our sources also highlighted this whole dating hierarchy thing.
Oh, yeah, based on nationality.
One blogger even said Scandinavian men were seen as more advanced, whatever that means.
Interesting. Even in a cosmopolitan hub like Dubai, certain nationalities are seen as more, well, desirable, I guess.
Yeah. And it's not just like a rumor or whatever. We saw forum posts from women saying outright they wouldn't date certain nationalities.
It makes you think, are people really looking for a connection, or are they just trying to climb some social ladder?
That's a good question. And speaking of superficial stuff, a lot of sources talked about how much emphasis there is on material wealth and status,
Oh, yeah, like people asking about your job, your car, where you live right off the bat.
like sizing you up almost.
Exactly. And when you combine that with the pressure on men to always pay, it paints a kind of transactional picture of dating.
So, with all this in mind, where do people even go to meet each other?
Well, clubs were mentioned a lot.
But those can get pricey, right?
Oh, yeah, especially for the guys.
And it sounds like certain clubs cater to specific demographics too.
We saw that, yeah. Like one post mentioned Cavalli Club being popular with Western women and Lebanese men.
Interesting.
And then there were mentions of clubs in Old Dubai that attract particular groups.
So even the nightlife is kind of segmented. But we did find one interesting tip.
Oh, yeah.
Shocho. They have these cabin crew nights with free drinks for Emirates and Fly Dubai staff.
Oh, smart.
Apparently, a lot of interesting women go there. Might be a good hack for the single guys out there.
Makes sense. It's like people adapt to the social scene, find creative ways to meet. I wonder what other dating hacks there are in Dubai.
Okay, so we've got clubs, but what about dating apps? Seems like Tinder is just as big in Dubai as anywhere else.
Yeah, but our sources say those apps come with a whole other set of challenges in Dubai.
Like what?
Well, more scams, for one thing, and validation seekers, people just looking for attention,
Right.
and even like transactional relationships disguised as dating.
Wow. So how do you even find someone genuine with all that going on?
That is the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
A lot of expats talked about struggling with that, trying to filter through it all. Hookup culture, escorts, it's a lot to navigate.
So it's like you're constantly having to look past the superficial stuff. Do you think it's even possible to find real connection in Dubai with all this focus on wealth and status?
That's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
Because even though a lot of sources talked about that perception of Dubai,
Yeah.
they also shared stories about finding real love there,
Yeah.
genuine connections.
Really?
Yeah.
So what's the secret? How did they make it work?
It seems like it comes down to finding someone who shares your values, your interests,
Yeah.
someone who's on the same page about what matters.
Looking beyond the superficial.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Finding that common ground. But there's another big factor we can't ignore: culture.
Oh, right. Dubai's got this huge expat population, but it's still rooted in Emirati culture, which is known for being more conservative.
Right. And that definitely impacts the dating scene, especially if you're dating someone from Emirati culture.
Yeah, that's got to be a whole other layer of complexity.
It is. For example, living together before marriage is illegal in the UAE, and public displays of affection are generally frowned upon. So you've got this interesting mix of the more liberal expat culture and the more conservative local values.
Yeah, that makes sense. And we actually came across a few stories that show this clash of cultures. One guy talked about this date who looked completely different in person than she did in her heavily photoshopped Tinder pics.
Ooh.
It's like, everyone's trying to present a certain image, but it also shows how important authenticity is.
Totally. You can't build a real connection on a fake persona.
Right. And then there's this other story, totally opposite. This guy found unexpected romance at a casual beach lounge.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, not exactly where you'd expect to find a serious connection, but it happened.
It just goes to show that love can pop up in the most unexpected places.
Yeah, and sometimes those more casual settings are where you can really let your guard down and be yourself.
Exactly. And when you're both being genuine, that's where the magic happens.
All right, so we've covered a lot about the general dating scene, but what about dating Emirati men or women specifically? Our sources mentioned there are some unique things to keep in mind there.
Oh, absolutely. Especially for men dating Emirati women.
Right.
It's super important to be respectful of cultural sensitivities and family honor. It's a different world in some ways.
And for women dating Emirati men, it seems like the expectations can be quite different too. Our sources said there's this perception that expat women are more open to casual dating.
That came up a few times, yeah.
Yeah.
And it probably has to do with the cultural differences and maybe even the pressures that Emirati men face within their own society.
It's like this intricate dance of cultural norms, expectations, and personal desires. Sounds like you need a whole lot of awareness to navigate the Dubai dating scene successfully.
You really do. Understanding the nuances, both local and expat, is key to making it work, or at least avoiding some awkward situations.
Well, we've only just scratched the surface here. There's so much more to unpack. In part 2, we're going to hear directly from expats who've been through it all.
Yes, their stories offer a real, unfiltered look at what it's actually like to date in Dubai.
Stay tuned. It's about to get juicy. All right, welcome back to our Dubai dating deep dive.
We've talked about the challenges, the culture, the money, all that.
But now we get to hear from the people who've actually lived it.
Right. We've got all these firsthand accounts from expats. And let me tell you, some of these stories are wild.
It's amazing how these personal experiences bring everything to life, you know?
Totally. It's like suddenly those fake ideas we talked about become real. You know, they have faces and names and everything.
Okay, so let's jump right in. This one guy, James, he shared a story about a date that totally blindsided him.
Oh, what happened?
Well, they went to this fancy Michelin-starred restaurant, her suggestion, by the way, and the bill ended up being over 1,200 euros.
Whoa.
Yeah, talk about sticker shock.
It's like that classic gold digger thing, right? Some people are drawn to Dubai for all the wrong reasons.
Sadly, yeah. And it's not always about the money either. This other expat, Samantha, she went on a date with this super charming guy.
Sounds promising.
It was at first. They went for drinks overlooking the city skyline, the whole 9 yards.
Okay.
But then she found out he was actually an escort.
Oh, no.
Yeah, talk about a plot twist.
It's like you really can't judge a book by its cover in Dubai. You have to dig a little deeper.
You definitely have to be careful. And speaking of appearances, there's this other story from Ahmed, a Lebanese expat. He thought he was going to a chill yacht party, but it turned out to be a full-blown Instagram influencer extravaganza.
Oh, wow.
Designer clothes, selfies everywhere, everyone trying to outdo each other.
It's like that whole Dubai scene amplified.
Totally, and it makes you wonder, how can you even find genuine connection in an environment like that?
It's tough. It's like everyone's putting on a show.
Right, and it's not always just about showing off either. We heard from this teacher, Emily, who kept getting taken advantage of financially.
Oh, no. How so?
Like one guy, he forgot his wallet and she ended up paying the 300 euro bill. Later, she found out he did this all the time.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's like a whole dating strategy for some people.
That's crazy. It really makes you think twice about trusting people, you know?
Definitely. And then there's the whole ghosting thing. One guy, Raj, he was dating this amazing woman, smart, funny, beautiful, but she just disappeared after a few dates.
Oof, ghost.
No explanation, no nothing, just poof, gone.
It's the worst. Even in a city that seems all about appearances, those emotional blows still hurt.
Yeah, it's like you can never really let your guard down completely. And speaking of putting on a show, we heard from Olivia, an American expat. She went on a date with this guy, and next thing she knows, she's in his Instagram story, tagged as another amazing woman he met.
Oh, my God.
Turns out he did that with all his dates. It's like he was just collecting Instagram trophies.
It's so messed up. It makes you wonder if anyone is really being genuine on these apps.
Right. Like, are you really interested in me, or just in how I'll make your Instagram look?
It's a tough one. Okay, so we've heard some pretty rough dating stories, but our sources didn't just share horror stories.
Thankfully, no.
They also told us about finding real love in Dubai.
Yes. Those stories were so inspiring. Like this one woman, she met her husband through a hiking group.
Oh, that's sweet.
Right. They bonded over their love of the outdoors, and it just blossomed from there.
It shows you that finding love is about connecting on a deeper level, not just about where you meet or any of that superficial stuff.
Exactly. It's about those shared experiences, shared values. And we also heard from this couple who met through a language exchange program.
Oh, cool.
They both love learning new languages and they were really interested in different cultures.
Yeah.
And that's what brought them together.
It's a good reminder that you can find love anywhere if you're open to it.
Totally. And then there was this other couple they met while volunteering for a charity.
Oh, that's
I
nice.
know. They were both really passionate about giving back to the community, and that shared purpose brought them closer.
I love that. It's like their love story is proof that genuine connection can overcome anything.
Exactly. Those stories are what keep me hopeful, because they show that even in a city like Dubai with all its craziness,
Yeah.
real love is still possible. It's just about being patient and looking in the right places.
And being true to yourself, of course.
Of course. Okay, so we've talked about the good, the bad, and the just plain weird. But what does it all mean for someone who's actually trying to find love in Dubai? What advice would you give them?
That's a good question. Well, I think the most important thing is to go in with realistic expectations. Don't let yourself get swept up in the hype.
Right, because Dubai is such a fast-paced city.
Exactly. People are coming and going all the time. It's important to be upfront about what you're looking for from the start. Are you looking for something casual, something serious, or are you just exploring your options?
Honesty is key.
Always. It saves everyone a lot of time and potential heartache. And the people who seem to find success in Dubai are the ones who really tailor their approach to their goals.
Okay, so if you're looking for a deeper connection, maybe skip the high-energy clubs.
Exactly. Think about what kind of environment is most likely to attract the kind of person you're looking for.
That makes sense. What are some other strategies our sources mentioned?
Well, shared interests were a big one.
Oh, like finding activities or groups that align with your passions.
Yeah, exactly. Whether it's joining a hiking club, volunteering for a cause, even attending a language exchange, those shared activities create a natural foundation for connection.
It's like you're already on the same wavelength before you even start talking about dating.
Right. You've already got something in common. And that brings me to another point. Be open to different nationalities and cultures. Remember that dating hierarchy we talked about?
Oh, yeah, where people have these preconceived notions about who's more desirable.
It's so limiting. Stepping outside of those boxes can open up a whole world of possibilities. Embrace the diversity that Dubai offers.
Expand your horizons. But let's be real for a second. The cost of dating in Dubai is a huge factor. How do you deal with that, especially if you're not, like, a millionaire?
Well, it's about shifting your mindset. You don't have to do everything extravagantly to have a good time. A walk along the beach, a picnic in the park. Those can be just as romantic as an expensive dinner.
It's about the company, not the price tag, right?
Right. And don't be afraid to be open about your budget. Someone who's genuinely interested in you won't be put off by that.
It's about finding someone who values you for you, not for what you can spend.
Exactly. And that brings me to another important point, being discerning. Well, trust your gut feelings. If something feels off, it probably is. And if someone's pressuring you to spend more than you're comfortable with, that's a huge red flag.
Always trust your instincts. Don't let anyone push you into something you don't want to do.
Exactly. You deserve to be treated with respect, regardless of your financial situation or background. Okay, so we've talked about practical strategies, red flags, being true to yourself, but what about the emotional side of things?
Yeah, how do you stay sane in a dating scene like Dubai?
Oh, first of all, remember that a lot of the connections in Dubai are going to be temporary. It's just the nature of the city. So don't go all in too quickly.
Pace yourself.
Exactly. Protect your heart a little bit. And remember that rejection is a part of dating. It happens everywhere. Don't take it personally.
Easier said than done, I know, but it's true. What about loneliness? Dubai seems like it could be a lonely place, even with all the people and activities.
It definitely can be. That's why it's so important to build a strong support network. Make friends, join expat groups, find people who share your interests.
It's like creating your own little community.
Exactly. And don't forget about self-care. Make time for the things that bring you joy, whether it's exploring the city, pursuing your hobbies, or just relaxing at home.
Taking care of yourself is essential no matter what your relationship status is.
Totally. And remember, finding love is a journey, not a destination. Embrace the ups and downs, learn from your experiences, and keep an open mind.
So after hearing all these stories, what do you think? Is love really possible in Dubai?
I absolutely think so. but it requires a different approach than maybe other places. You have to be aware of the city's unique dynamics, stay true to yourself, and be open to the unexpected.
It's about creating your own definition of love and then finding someone who shares that vision.
Exactly. And remembering that beyond all the glitz and glamour, Dubai is still a city full of people looking for connection, just like you.
Well said. Welcome back. It's the final part of our Dubai dating deep dive.
We've heard some crazy stories, right?
Yeah, from those gold digger dates to the unexpected love found through volunteering, it's been a wild ride.
Dubai dating, it's definitely its own thing.
But now it's time to get practical. What can we actually learn from all this? How can someone use this knowledge to actually find a connection in Dubai?
Well, I think one of the biggest takeaways is the importance of managing expectations.
Going in with a clear head, not letting yourself get caught up in the hype.
Exactly. Dubai is a transient city. People are coming and going all the time, and that can impact the dating scene.
Makes sense. So, like, not getting too attached too quickly.
Right. It can be helpful to just be upfront about what you're looking for. Do you want something casual, something serious, or are you just seeing what's out there?
Honesty from the start.
Exactly. And it seems like the people who are most successful in Dubai are the ones who really tailor their approach to their goals.
So, like, if you're looking for something deeper, maybe those big clubs aren't the best place to start.
Yeah, maybe not. Think about the kind of environment that would attract the kind of person you want to meet.
That's a good point. What other strategies did our sources suggest?
A lot of them talked about the importance of shared interests.
Finding activities or groups that align with your passions.
Exactly, like joining a hiking group, volunteering for a cause, or maybe a language exchange.
Oh, yeah, we heard from a couple who met that way.
See? Shared activities are a great way to connect with people who are already on the same page as you in terms of interests and values.
It's like building a connection organically. You're not just relying on superficial attraction.
Right. And it's also a good way to meet people from different cultures.
Speaking of which, we have to talk about that dating hierarchy thing again.
Oh, yeah. That was pretty eye-opening.
It seems so limiting, to be honest. Like, judging someone based on their nationality, come on.
Totally. Dubai is such a melting pot. Why not embrace that? Step outside those boxes, and you might be surprised by who you connect with.
Expand your horizons. Okay, now for the big question. The cost of dating in Dubai. How do you navigate that, especially if you're on a budget?
It's about being creative. You don't need to spend a ton of money to have a good date. A walk on the beach, a picnic in the park. Those can be just as romantic as a fancy dinner.
And maybe even more so because it's more relaxed.
Exactly. It's about the connection, not the price tag.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's okay to be upfront about your budget too. If someone's genuinely interested in you, they won't mind.
They'll be understanding.
Right. It's about finding someone who values you for you, not for what you can spend on them.
That's so important. So being smart with your money, but also being discerning about who you're spending time with.
Exactly. Trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. And if someone is pressuring you to spend more than you're comfortable with, that's a big red flag.
Walk away. Don't let anyone take advantage of you.
Okay, we've talked about strategies, red flags, but what about the emotional side of things? Dubai seems like it could be a tough place to be single, especially if you're not finding what you're looking for.
It can be, yeah. Especially since a lot of the connections here are temporary.
Right, people come and go. It's important to just be prepared for that. Don't get too attached too quickly. Pace yourself. Allow things to develop naturally.
Protect your heart a little.
Exactly. And remember that rejection is part of the process. It happens everywhere. It's not a reflection of your worth. It just means that person wasn't the right fit for you.
That's good advice. What about loneliness? Even with all the people and activities in Dubai, it still seems like it could be easy to feel isolated.
It definitely can be. That's why it's so important to build a strong support network. Find friends, join expat groups, connect with people who share your interests, create your own little community.
You're home away from home.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of self-care. Make time for things that bring you joy, whether it's exploring the city, pursuing your hobbies, or just relaxing at home.
Take care of yourself. That's the foundation for any healthy relationship. So after all this, what's the biggest takeaway? Do you think it's possible to find real love in Dubai?
I do. I really do. But it requires a unique approach. You have to be aware of the city's dynamics, you have to stay true to yourself, and you have to be open to the unexpected.
It's about creating your own definition of love and then finding someone who shares that vision.
Exactly. And remembering that beneath all the glitz and glamour, Dubai is still a city full of people looking for connection.
People just like you.
Exactly.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the Dubai dating scene. We've covered a lot of ground here, from the hilarious to the heartbreaking.
But most importantly, we hope we've provided some valuable insights for those navigating this crazy world of dating in Dubai.
It's a unique city, that's for sure. But one thing's clear, even in a place as fast-paced and extravagant as Dubai, love is still out there.
It is. You just have to be smart, be savvy, and most importantly, be yourself.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. And remember, this is just the beginning of the conversation. We'd love to hear from you, your stories, your thoughts, your questions. Let's keep the conversation going.